Hi, first grade kiddos. Welcome to session 3 in our reading unit of study. Today, I want to talk to you about what I've been up to. I have been reading Up a Storm. How about you? Yeah, all these books. And today, I want to teach you something really important. I want to give you a tip because here's the thing. I've read so many books, and how do I remember all these books? Today, I want to teach you the best way to remember a book forever is to tell someone else about it. That's right, sharing. So, I'm going to add to our anchor chart today. We're going to work on retell the important parts and mark pages to remember. We've been doing so much in our books on our adventure. We've been doing a sneak peek when we start. We're keeping track of where and when. We're predicting what might come next. But today, the heart of it, you can remember books forever when you retell. And we mark the most important parts. Today, I'm going to teach you how. My friends, what we learned today was that the best way to remember a book forever is to tell someone about it. And on our anchor chart, our new strategy is working on retelling the important parts and marking pages to remember. So we're going to go back to and visit Iris and Walter and the field trip. In this book, there's already been some important things that happened that I want to remember to share with someone when I do my retell. So, as I'm looking through the book, at the beginning, they find out they're going on a field trip. So I am going to use a sticky note and mark this page because that's important for my friends to know, aha, they're going on a field trip. I might use a star symbol. You could just use a plain sticky note. You can decide, or you might even write a keyword. I'll show you what I mean. So they're super excited about going to the aquarium. Here they're talking about it. I don't need to mark this page because this is still more about just going on the field trip. Even when they're at dinner, they're just still talking about the field trip. Whether they're having turkey for dinner, that's really not that important. But the important thing that we do need to know is this part where they're talking about going to, well, maybe even back on this page, because they asked, where are you going? And they're going to the aquarium. I might write that word right there because my friends might be asking me, well, like, yeah, I know they're going on a field trip, but where? Oh, to the aquarium. And then they continue with dinner. Aha! Then they went on the bus ride. Remember this chapter that we just read? This is important. Bus ride. I might even want to mention to my friends that they had to have partners, right? That was super important. I'm going to continue on reading and let's see if there's another important part coming up. So yeah, the bus ride. They were singing happy songs and knock-knock jokes. Not that important. Aha! Chapter 3. Where's Walter? When the bus pulled up in front of the aquarium, Iris said, look at all the people. Hey, Walter, said Benny. That boy is wearing a shirt just like yours. He is, said Walter. Whoa, I'm using my predict strategy. Same shirt. Might that cause a problem? Now, children, it's very crowded here, so keep your eyes on me, said Miss Cherry. Did you just hear that music that's like dun dun dun? Me too. The children walked down a dark hallway. Everywhere they looked, there were fish. Ooh, they whispered. Maybe not that important in my retell. They're at the aquarium. Sharks, said Benny. They look mean, said Iris. While the children were looking at the sharks, Miss Cherry and Jenny's mother counted everyone. Right? Just like I do on a field trip, keeping track. Okay, follow me, said Miss Cherry. Then they came to the coral reef. Wow, said Iris and Benny. Walter could not say a word.
He watched the angelfish swim and shimmer, the hermit crabs scurry, and the seagrass sway. Walter had never seen anything as wonderful as the coral reef. Wow, he really loves that part. Are we going to see the penguins soon? Asked Iris. That's our next stop, said Miss Cherry. And she counted everyone again. Off we go, said Miss Cherry. They walked past the starfish. They walked past the seahorses. Oh, look, there are the penguins, said Iris, taking Walter's hand. Don't you think they are cute, Walter? But Walter didn't answer. That's strange. Are you wondering, predicting, thinking? Oh boy. Iris turned around. She saw a boy. You're not Walter, said Iris. I'm Nick, said the boy. Where's my class? He asked. Iris looked all around. There were crowds of children. She could not see Walter anywhere. There you are, Nick, shouted a woman. I've been looking all over for you. Whew. Nick grabbed his teacher's hand and held on tight. So he was lost. And now where's Walter? I think this is an important part in the story. I'm going to put a sticky note here because this is the part where Walter disappears. I'm going to make sure I mark that. I'm going to star this page. I remember exactly what happened here. Iris ran to Miss Cherry. Miss Cherry, I can't find Walter, she said. Walter's lost? Asked Jenny. I can't find him anywhere, said Iris. Chapter 4, The Rescue. Don't worry, said Miss Cherry. I will find Walter. Now, I want everyone to stay with Jenny's mother. Please let me come with you, said Iris. Miss Cherry looked at Iris's worried face. Come, Iris. You and I shall find Walter, said Miss Cherry. Whoa. I think this is an important part because Miss Cherry and Iris are doing the searching. Oops. I might even say looking to help me as a clue. They walked past the starfish. They did not see Walter. They walked by the seahorses, but Walter was not there. Iris thought about Walter, lost and alone. Poor Walter, he must be really scared, she said. We will find him, said Miss Cherry, but there were so many people. How would they ever find Walter in the big crowd? Suddenly, Iris saw him. There he is! There's Walter! She cried. Walter was still standing in front of the coral reef, watching the fish swim around and around. Walter, we've been looking for you everywhere, said Iris. Huh? Said Walter. I was so worried, said Iris. Why? Asked Walter. Because you were lost, said Iris. I was? He asked. I did not predict that, did you? Sometimes we're surprised. I am going to put a sticky note on this page because they found Walter, and that's super important in my retell. He didn't even know he was lost. That is so silly. Iris and Miss Cherry gave Walter a big hug. I'm very happy to see you, Walter, said Miss Cherry. And now, I think it's a good time to have our picnic, don't you? Outside, the sun was shining. Iris and Walter played tag with their friends. They sat under a tree and shared their lunches. Time to go, said Miss Cherry. When the bus pulled up in front of school, Grandpa was waiting. How was the field trip? He asked. It was fabulous, said Walter. We saw angelfish and hermit crabs. And Walter got lost, said Iris. Oh no, said Grandpa. But I didn't know I was lost, said Walter. And I found him, said Iris. Then Iris and Walter told Grandpa the whole story all the way home. Ta-da! Did you notice? These are the important parts that I marked. I wanted to make sure in the retell that I tell my friend, oh, they're going on a field trip. This page is reminding me, that they're going to the aquarium. On this page, they're riding the bus and they have to have partners. I wanted to remember to tell my friend about that. And then when I got here, they realize Walter's missing and it's pretty scary. And then finally, they're looking and then they found Walter. These are the important parts of the story. I want to show you what sometimes happens when friends mark their books with sticky notes. Here's what one of my friends did in this Henry and Mudge, the first book. Okay, notice the sticky notes. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Okay, there's too many. You don't need to use too many. When you do a retell, you want to tell the most important parts, and you only mark those pages. So what I'm going to teach you next is how to determine importance. In Henry and Mudge, this is important. He has no brothers and sisters. This is what he's still talking to his family about. They said, yes, you can get a dog. This is important. The collar sizes, no. That they love each other, no. This is great. Okay. Henry's walking to school, probably not that important. They sure do love each other, but really not most important. Mudge is his great dog. So here's some pages about Mudge. I might want to say how big he is and drooly he is, but I don't need to say that he licks Henry in bed. This part's important. Mudge actually runs away. Well, not really on purpose. He just went on a walk. And guess what? Speaking of getting lost, that's what happens. So I'm marking only this page where Mudge takes a walk. Here, all these pages are all about him being lost. He's still lost. I didn't need all those sticky notes. And then Henry, though, is beside himself. His dog is lost. So he's searching for him. I probably want to share this page because Henry goes on a search for his dog. And guess what? He finds him. It's super important that we talk about Henry and Mudge being back together again. I don't need to know that Mudge is now staying in the house like a good boy. What I do need to know is on this very last page that they never left each other again. So do you see this whole pile of sticky notes? That was too many. You want to use your good sense of the most important parts in the story when you're doing your retell. So enjoy today, read a book that you love, and mark the most important pages because that's what we do in a retell. When you retell your stories, you can remember a book forever.
Here we are back at our anchor chart. Off we go. Readers go on adventures. Today we worked on retell the important parts and we marked pages to remember. The best way to hold a book in your heart forever is to mark the pages. What I want you to do is be ready for a retell by marking the pages, and now you know how to determine importance. Off you go!